Hey! Hey there! Today I'm going to be showing you guys my Storm Hanger and Wall Crasher build for Serena. Now, first of all, I apologize for not being able to upload videos, but most of you already know that I was busy setting up my new PC, new desks, and all that stuff. Also had to get into a doctor's appointment and after that had to farm everything before looking into stuff. This season hasn't really changed anything in terms of builds for almost every Descendant. This includes Serena. In this particular video, I will only be talking about my Wall Crasher and Storm Hanger Serena build. The other builds for Void Erosion, Mobbing, Bossing is still gonna be the same. Except that inversion has changed and we no longer get the bonus HP inversion which kinda affected Serena's DPS. Check this video right here if you want other builds. For Wall Crasher, it's somewhat quite simple, and the build is almost exactly the same as my previous build for the Divine Punishment. This is the Serena build. Like I said in my Divine Punishment video, you can use Passionate Sponsor and multi-hit circulation to further boost our attack damage because it's easy to stack with him if you're in a party, especially with 7 other people. With that, we can compensate removing multi-talented and use 2 focus mods to lower our 4th skill cooldown. Using shot focus rather than overwhelming HP will give you a little bit more damage even when using overwhelming HP gets you to the modifier cap of 312%. We are using Arcade Leak here and not Hyper Hollow points because we can almost guarantee a 100% weak point hit rate against Wall Crasher. Make sure to use your first ability when using Arcade Leak to activate the skill cost reduction bonus for mana utility. For the weapons, we can either use Divine Punishment or Ancient Knight using the same build, but what differs is the core types. Divine Punishment though will give you more damage than Ancient Knight, and you will be consistently dealing this damage even with 7 other Serenas. Now, I won't be showing the crit version if you have Enzo in your team. That's because, as I assume, buffing allies with Enzo's crit rate is going to be difficult because his drones are in the ground and Serena is flying. Fetching the buff on the ground will cause a shooting down time which affects average shot per second. And the build will heavily suffer if you are not able to get the flat crit rate buff from Enzo. This was confirmed when I talked with Sinity. Huge shout out by the way. His team was having troubles keeping Enzo's buffs at 100%. You might also want to equip a secondary impact rounds weapon for mana utility. I will be suggesting either Wave of Light because it has a 100% crit rate after reload and Serena reloads by using her 3rd ability. Triggering crit from an impact weapon will recover Serena's mana due to her 2nd ability. You don't have to build this weapon for damage, but build into quality of life including weapon change speed. The other mana utility weapon I will suggest is the Zestress Devotion. The Zestress Devotion shreds Wall Crasher's defense by 30% for 3 seconds when hitting a weak point. Again, you don't have to build into damage, but build into crit and quality of life for this weapon. Just remember that the max modifier for weapon change speed is only 0.5. If you are able to defeat Wall Crasher within 1 minute, you will not need to use your mana utility weapons, but it's there just in case. For arcade tuning, it's going to be a little bit different. You can have 2 options. You can use defense neutralization for the obvious shred. But since there's 8 of you, the probability of someone using defense neutralization is pretty high, so you can use the arcade tuning on the right instead to further boost your damage. Again, you can choose either of the 2, but this build will rely more on the second arcade tuning option because we're assuming that someone is using defense neutralization. This route will also give you consistency because you don't get the benefit of defense neutralization when the enemy shield is 0. That's a huge factor for enemies that don't die within seconds. For inversion, nothing really changed except that we lost the HP bonus which affected our bonus damage from our 4th ability. Storm Hanger might give you a headache especially if you have a potato aim just like me. This is the Serena build. We went with Overwhelming Shield to boost our HP so we can still use defense neutralization. But you can replace weighing skills with Strong Mentality if you like. This will ensure that you don't have to switch into an impact weapon quite a lot. You can also replace Hyper Hollow points for Arcade Leak if you want more mana utility, or if you can guarantee a high weak point hit rate. For weapons, we will be using the Ancient Knight. Again, you can replace red highlighted modules with weak point sight or half aiming if you personally have a good weak point hit rate. Inversion will be the same except switch attribute to Toxic. We will also utilize defense neutralization for our arcade tuning. I will warn you though, Serena on Storm Hanger will only be efficient if you have a really good weak point aim. One other factor is that Storm Hanger is very resistant to weapon damage. This is why you will get lower times when using a skill Descendant like Valby, Nal, and even Killin. Again, this video will only focus on Wall Crusher and Storm Hanger. There are no changes for my other Serena builds except of course use either Archeleak or Kuiper Hollow points. That's it for the video guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!